There's an old saying that never judge a book by its cover. Why not? Among all the ways you can judge a book, the cover is an important element. With patterns, pictures, and symbols, the cover lures the reader towards a book. You can't judge a book by its cover, you can judge it by the smell of its pages. The old yellow penguin paperbacks have this unique smell that makes me nostalgic. It reminds me of those childhood days spent in the school library. The cover of the book or the smell of its pages are a good enough reason to buy books. However, let me tell you a literary secret. The best way to judge a novel is through its first sentence. The first sentence is like a seed, and the book is like a tree that grows out of that seed. The first few words of a novel can lay bare the heart of the book, but very few authors are able to craft that perfect first sentence. For example, we have Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, the typical Victorian novel about the struggles of marriage and finding a husband, and it begins with this iconic line.
It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife.
Similarly, Tolstoy's epic novel Anna Karenina, which is about the disintegration of multiple families, begins with the following sentence.
All happy families are alike. Each unhappy family is unhappy in its own way.
Avni Doshi has entered the list of these great luminaries. She has crafted the perfect first sentence for her novel. Her novel is about the conflicted relationship between a mother and a daughter, a relationship built on indifference, neglect, and a strange kind of unbreakable bondage. And the novel begins with the following words.
I would be lying if I said my mother's misery has never given me pleasure.
This diabolic beginning sets the tone for the intense novel that deals with memories of loss and pain and the volcanic emotions that lie secretly buried in the heart of its protagonist.
Tara, the mother, is suffering from memory loss. Antara, the daughter, has to take care of her. In her days, Tara was a rebel. She had challenged social, familial, and parental expectations of the world. She had been the outlier. She had joined an ashram in Pune, and those were the heady days of Osho. The spirited madness of being in an ashram inflicted everyone. As the novel describes, in the ashram, some people wept like overwrought children when they saw Baba, while others sobbed silently. And then there were those who pulled their clothes off in the meditation hall and bare breasted lay on the ground, arms and legs spread, eyes rolling back, cackling. The moralities, ethics, and dogmas of the world were being challenged in the ashram. However, in an attempt to challenge the society, even the most basic responsibilities of parenting were neglected. To be a child in such an environment was another kind of hell, and Antara grew up neglected and abandoned.
Ma was determined. She was on her way to no longer caring what everyone thought. Even after I was born, she would disappear every day, dripping with milk, leaving me unfed.
Growing up in a cult, left alone by her mother, surrounded by hippies in white clothes, persisting at the edge of the society, the only true desire Antara had was to be considered as normal. She did not want to be a part of this lunatic gang of ashramites. While Tara could not be contained by the norms of the society, all Antara wanted in her life was to be accepted into those very norms. Every decision in her life, from her marriage to her pregnancy, is taken by this desire to be considered as normal. In a way, Antara is also a rebel, but she has turned her rebellion inwards. Her rebellion is restricted to the realm of thought, confined to the four walls of her mind. It never translates into action. She is the kind of woman who packs her bags, abandons her family, and runs away from her house only to return in the evening to serve dinner to her husband. It is Antara's volcanic emotions juxtaposed with perfectly reasonable actions that give the novel its edginess. However, there are issues with the novel.
Antara is an artist who has this project where she repeatedly sketches the face from one photograph. Each sketch is based on a previous sketch so that the original photograph is soon forgotten. It's about how one original picture can give birth to multiple versions. The curator titles her show as a diary of an artist. The show is unsuccessful and Antara blames the title.
A diary? What does that even mean? A diary sounds so trifling, so ridiculously childlike. Who wants to spend money on a diary, really?
And yet I believe that the diary is an appropriate metaphor to describe the novel. Like a diary, the novel has many dangling paragraphs. They might be good in themselves, but they have no further narrative consequence. In one paragraph, Antara mentions a first sexual encounter with a 16-year-old boy. And as readers, we expect a more elaborate description of the incident, its impact on her psyche, and its influence on her adolescent life. But the event is like a small note, almost like a forgotten diary entry, and it's never again mentioned in the novel. Similarly, there are incessant references to her mother's disease, doctors, and medication. These sections have many technical medical terms, and many popular reviews have complained against this vocabulary. However, for me, the problem is not as much with the technical terms as it is in their ambiguous role in the novel. Many great novels such as Moby Dick use technical vocabulary to create an atmosphere, a kind of setting for the novel. Even Real Life, another book shortlisted for Booker Prize, uses way more technical terms than Burnt Sugar. However, Real Life is set in a biochemistry graduate lab, and it wants the reader to inhabit the world of a science graduate student so that the technical details create an atmosphere for the novel, a kind of ambience inhabited by all its characters. However, in Avdi Doshi's novel, the medical details are too scattered to actually set a tone for the novel. They're like interludes that come and go without creating any impact on the narrative. Similarly, there are references to the protagonist's homosexual desire and even incest. Both these references appear for one single sentence, and one's left confused about their purpose in the larger story. Do they reflect on the deeper pattern of desires of our character? And if so, why are they not developed throughout the narrative? And if they're unimportant to the narrative, why are they even mentioned for one sentence? Again, they seem like diary entries, records of the flickering thoughts in the minds of the character. Apart from confusing the reader, they add little to the novel.
Despite its flaws, Avni Doshi has crafted a fast-paced debut novel about a fraught relationship between a mother and her daughter. For exploring some of the darker sides of parenting and for writing that impeccable first sentence, I will give this book a 3 out of 5 stars. If you like the video, press the like button, comment on the video, share it with people, and if you're interested in such content, please subscribe to my channel. Also, if you're interested in reading the novel, I've put the link in the description. You can buy the book through that link.